What kind of fighter turns the skies into a slaughterhouse with machine guns alone? What kind of aircraft earns a reputation so brutal that seasoned German aces begin to fear a single silhouette in the clouds? On the morning of March 6, 1944, high above central Germany during World War II, formations of American bombers pushed deep into the heart of the Third Reich. Escorting them were fighters of the United States Army Air Force's 8th Air Force, including the massive, blunt-nosed P-47 Thunderbolt. Across the radio frequencies, Luftwaffe units scrambled to intercept. Jagdgeschwader 11 and Jagdgeschwader 1 rose to meet them, confident, experienced, and desperate to defend their homeland. The sky was cold, the air thin, the stakes absolute. Little did they know that this encounter would help redefine air combat over Europe and turn the P-47 into a Luftwaffe nightmare. By early 1944, the war in Europe had reached a decisive phase. Allied planners were preparing for Operation Overlord, the invasion of Normandy. But no invasion could succeed while German fighter forces still dominated the skies over Western Europe. The solution was brutal and direct: force the Luftwaffe into battle, destroy it in the air. The 8th Air Force launched massive daylight bombing raids against aircraft factories, ball-bearing plants, oil refineries, and rail hubs deep inside Germany. These missions were designed not just to cripple industry, but to bleed the Luftwaffe white. Commanding the American fighter effort were men like Colonel Hubert Zemke of the 56th Fighter Group, a unit that would become synonymous with the P-47 Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt was not elegant. It was enormous, heavy, and powered by the largest engine ever fitted to a single-seat fighter. Critics initially doubted it, but its designers had built something else entirely: a machine that could dive faster than almost anything in the sky, absorb terrifying damage, and unleash more firepower than any fighter of its time. By 0630 hours, bomber crews were already at their aircraft, engines coughing to life on rain-soaked English airfields. The target that day was Berlin and its surrounding industrial zones. Weather reports were grim: high-altitude winds, scattered cloud layers, and bitter cold at altitude. By 0900 hours, the bomber streams were forming up over the North Sea, silver formations stretching for miles. Above them, P-47s climbed slowly, heavily laden with fuel and ammunition. Each Thunderbolt carried 8 50-caliber Browning machine guns with nearly 3,400 rounds of ammunition. By midday, German radar stations along the coast detected the incoming armada. Scramble orders went out. Luftwaffe pilots ran to their aircraft, some flying their second or third sortie of the day. Fuel shortages were constant. Training hours were shrinking, but experience still mattered. As the Americans crossed into Germany around 1300 hours, contrails began to appear ahead. By 1400 hours, the first German fighters were climbing to intercept, using the sun and cloud cover to mask their approach. The sky was about to erupt. The first attacks came head-on. Closing speeds were catastrophic, over 700 miles per hour. Cannon shells flashed past cockpits. Tracer rounds stitched the air. A Bf-109 exploded in mid-air, torn apart by converging streams of .50 caliber fire. Another Thunderbolt took hits in its fuselage, control cables shredded, yet somehow it stayed airborne. Inside the cockpits, oxygen masks iced over. Hands shook from cold and adrenaline. Radios crackled with shouted warnings and broken call signs. German pilots tried to break through, diving toward the bombers, only to find themselves bracketed by Thunderbolts. When the P-47s fired, the sound was continuous, a thunderous roar as 8 machine guns unleashed a solid wall of lead. Aircraft disintegrated, fuel tanks ignited, pilots bailed out or vanished in flames. Smoke trails marked the sky like scars. It felt endless, relentless. For the Luftwaffe, it was chaos and terror. For the Americans, it was survival. Against impossible odds, the Thunderbolt pilots exploited their strengths. They refused turning fights. Instead, they climbed, then dove, using gravity and raw power as weapons. The P-47 could exceed 500 miles per hour in a dive, faster than most German fighters could safely follow. What happened next would become legendary. American pilots made repeated slashing attacks, firing long bursts, then pulling away before the enemy could respond. German formations shattered, fuel warnings blinked, ammunition ran dry. Commanders ordered withdrawals, but many never made it home. Leadership, discipline, and brutal firepower turned the tide. The bombers pressed on, dropping their payloads over Berlin. The Luftwaffe had been beaten back in its own skies. By late afternoon, surviving American aircraft turned for home. Losses had been heavy, but the mission was a success. German fighter losses were severe, including many experienced pilots who could not be replaced. The P-47 Thunderbolt emerged from the day with a fearsome reputation. Official reports noted its ability to absorb damage and deliver overwhelming firepower. Pilots received decorations, units earned citations. More importantly, the Luftwaffe's grip on the skies weakened further. Each battle like this brought the Allies closer to air superiority and Germany closer to defeat. The P-47 Thunderbolt did more than escort bombers. It shattered morale, rewrote fighter tactics, and proved that brute force, when guided by skill and courage, could dominate the skies. Its legacy is written in the lives saved, the battles won, and the cost paid by all who flew into that deadly airspace. This was just one of countless untold stories from history. Subscribe to the channel as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters back to life.